Welcome to the Immigrant Education Collaborative Podcast. We hope you enjoy this interview. So welcome to a special episode of the Immigrant Education Collaborative Podcast. Today I have one of my favorite people in the world, Miss Kim. How are you, Miss Kim?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to be here, first of all. And where are we?
We are in Oxon Hill, Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
at the Revolutionary Institute of Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
private career school.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So the reason I wanted to reach out to you, I wanted to do this special episode about cosmetology and all the possibilities that come out of cosmetology,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like all the different paths you can take, because it's such an integral part of our lives, right? And we don't really think about it. So I want this conversation to be enlightening to others, especially to young people who have an affinity for beauty, fashion, doing hair, nails, makeup, all these things, right? And let them know that this is a viable career path, a viable career option. And I think your story and your journey is going to help to illustrate that and sort of your evolution of how you came to be the world-renowned Miss Kim.
Oh, I thank you.
Okay. So
Yes.
talk to us. Usually we start off by asking folks about, when they were younger, their childhood. So talk to us like, you're in high school,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting ready to kind of go out into the world. Like, what were your, when you think back about being in high school, like, what were some career options that you were mulling over, you were thinking about possibly pursuing?
I like that question
Mm-hmm.
because I was clueless.
Okay.
I had no idea whatsoever. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I had to finish. That was it. That was my instruction. My mother said, "You better graduate from high school."
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Just like that.
That's it. And then after that, okay, I did it. Check the box. Now, go get a job. But we didn't have any direction in high school. All we had was, you need to finish this class, you need to pass that class. Okay, did you score well? What was your GPA? After that, you graduate. Good luck with the rest of your life. So I didn't have any direction. And it wasn't until my mother told me there was a beauty school behind our apartment building. You need to get your feet off of this coffee table and do something with your life. So that's where it began for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it wasn't something that you had considered?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
All right. So, okay, so walk us through that. So this is your mother's suggestion,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your mom is like, go across the street, there's a beauty school, get in there, make it happen.
Exactly.
So you walk in,
Mm-hmm.
and what happens?
So I go to the school, and it literally was behind our apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
And I registered. I started the program. At that time, it was a full-time, 10 months, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So it was like our job. And once I got into the practice of beauty culture, I realized that this is something I think I might really want to get into. But even still, I didn't understand the capacity of the beauty industry and how far that it could actually take me. So again, my goal was to finish. There wasn't a conversation about what this industry could do for you, where it could take you. They say, "Oh, you just have to finish. As long as you have passion for it, it'll be wonderful." Okay, complete your 1,500 hours. Do your practical, do your theory, pass, go get a license, go get a job. So that was really the extent of my understanding. It was similar to high school. But once I was in school, what I realized is that I liked the education piece of it. And because I'm a curious person, I want to know more. It was never enough. I wanted more. So, okay, I have my license now. I go get a job, but there's more. What else can I do with this license? So I started to explore other things, and I found that I love to teach. I love to teach, and I love telling people what to do. So it kind of goes hand in hand. So while I was getting into the educational piece, because I was behind the chair, I did get a job. I was working in a salon. I did very well. I was cutting, I could cut, I could style, but I also found that I was very good at customer service. So when people started to ask me, what is your specialty? Customer service. I love people. I can have the gift of gab. I'm persuasive, I'm convincing, I'm passionate, all those things. So that helped me decide how far I wanted to go into the business. Customer service is my jam. So I always wanted to talk to people, see how they're feeling, where could we go? Do you need anything? Or they may decide that they don't want a particular service. And then we just sit down and have a conversation and say, why not? After I realized that customer service was my jam, then I realized that education was. I got a phone call from my beauty school teacher. She said, Kimberly, we need a substitute. I want you to come in and be a substitute. But at that time, I never taught. I didn't know anything. So I just came in and did what she told me to do. I had no formal education as far as teaching is concerned. And as a matter of fact, as far as being a student, I wasn't a very good student because I now know which is attention deficit disorder. I was suffering from that but didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was hard for me to stay focused, to stay in one place and get the job done, like to complete.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually just found that a couple of years ago. But once I realized that education was what I wanted to do, then I took that to the bank,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So I think you're touching on a lot of important themes here, right? So the first thing was that you're open to your mom's suggestion about going to the beauty school, right?
Yes.
But once you got in, I think your personality and this personality trait that you have of being curious, right, of wanting to know more, wanting to learn more, wanting to expand on what you already learned, I think that plays a huge part in this, right? And then you build on that because then you're like, okay, I like to teach and help. As I'm learning, I also like to teach others,
Yes.
right? And as I'm learning, I also like to make sure that other people are receiving, the treatment that they deserve, right? Which is the customer service piece, like making
Yes.
sure that people are good. That's all part of your personality. So you're finding something that sort of aligns with who you are, right?
Yes.
So you're curious. You like to help people. You like to make sure that they're good. You also like to teach people,
Right.
right? So it's almost like in your world, everything is coming together, and it's coming together through beauty school, through cosmetology. It's like coming together. So even when you talk about your ADHD that you later found out, you realize that when you're doing something that you're aligned with, which is sort of like your calling, your passion, your love, it kind of works out, right? Because
Yes.
before you found beauty school, you weren't really sure what you're going to do, and if you're doing something that doesn't interest you, then more than likely it's going to be boring. But if you're doing something that sort of feels aligned with your spirit and what you enjoy doing, which from knowing you, that's where you are. So talk us through that piece, right? Because when I asked you initially in high school, what did you want to do, you weren't really sure. But it's almost like a fish to water. You took to cosmetology right away.
Yes. So I think about the what if.
Mm-hmm.
What if I did further my education and learn more about this industry? What if I decided I didn't want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
So where would that lead me? Still, being semi clueless, but now having a license to operate, now I'm working this business, starting to meet people, starting to learn how to network. Once I learned how to network and really talk about what it was I did, then I started to find out what it was I wanted to do. When people started to recognize things in me, oh, you should look into education.
Mm-hmm.
You should look into, teaching people how to do what you do as far as like a skill set, cutting, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started exploring some of the other opportunities within the industry, that's when it really took off for me. Because the what if for me is what if I didn't embrace all of these things? And because I still have that what if, what if I just did what I said I was going to do, right? What if I stopped worrying about how things were going to happen and just started doing it, doing the work? That's one of the things I tell my students all the time. Just do the work, right? Because we have a tendency to overthink things and all these different scenarios in our head about, oh, I can't do this because I can't do that. Oh, life is this, and this happened. But no, when we overthink those things, then it takes away from our capability and it shrinks our capacity to be able to move forward and do these things.
Mm-hmm.
So within the beauty industry, once I started doing the networking and I started tapping into, you know, all the other avenues, management really opened up a lot of doors for me because now I didn't go to college. I graduated from high school. I went to cosmetology school. I got a license in cosmetology. I started doing hair. So then I started getting into the management. Oh, you should be a manager. It's always somebody suggested, oh, you should be a manager. Okay, well, what if I was the manager? So then once I got into management, now I'm learning the behind the scenes. I'm learning the admin, I'm learning the paperwork, so it's on the job training constantly as I'm moving through
Mm-hmm.
this 1,500 hours cosmetology license. And now I'm starting to grow within the industry. So now I'm in management. I'm loving management
Yeah.
because I'm the boss.
Right.
You do that, you do that. Ah, it was wonderful. Yeah, you know. But then there came a lot of responsibilities with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
While everybody gets to clock out and go home, now I'm the manager, so I have to sit, behind the scenes and make sure that everything is, you know, held accountable for. Inventory is right, all the money is right, all the people are, on time and all those things. But I still love management. I love management so much that I went to get my undergrad and get a major in management, business management.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I enjoyed it. So I'm like, okay, well, I have this cosmetology license and I have managerial experience. I'm going to talk about why I really went to get my degree. There's a few things that ignite my fire. You know, one of those things is when someone tells me what I can't do. What? How you going to tell me what I can't do? You don't know what I'm capable of doing. So that is the fuel to the fire for me. Don't tell me what I can't do because I will definitely prove you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got my managerial experience, before I got the degree, I went back to the private career school and started teaching again. When I started teaching large classrooms, 25 students at a time, AM and PM 50 students, I got a class of 100 people. I'm doing lectures in the classroom. It just gives me chills. I love it. So now I have students coming to me saying, Miss Kim, I want to do what you're doing. So now I have the opportunity to mentor and to share even further because I'm learning through these experiences, cosmetology license, high school graduate, cosmetology license, manager's experience. So now I'm starting to grow within the industry, being mentored by others, and now I can mentor others. So, each one teach one. It brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. So, what would you say is what's the driving force behind you being so open to growing, right, within the industry? Because, like you said, you're seeing all these possibilities
Mm-hmm.
within cosmetology, right? It's not just come in, get your license, and just work, but you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing, okay, I can grow, I can teach, I can be a manager, I can get into management, right? I can open up my own institute. Like, what do you think for you personally is the thing that allows you to be open to expanding? Is it just curiosity, or
It's
what else is it?
curiosity, but it's also me challenging myself.
Got you.
I can do it because I think I can and I know I can.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I always remember when I was going through my orientation with my undergrad is the question they asked me, and it sticks in my head. Are you going to finish? Are you going to complete the program?
Mm-hmm.
This is 4 years. Are you going to commit to 4 years? So I think about that whenever I get ready to start another venture, am I going to finish what I started?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to get into something else, which I'm in a lot of stuff, but I don't want to get into something else and have a basket with nothing in it
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't finish. So that's what keeps me going, and then once I check that box off and say, okay, I did that. Now what? Because I'm always going to be now what? Because I don't like sitting around not doing anything. And it's always a challenge for me. What can I challenge myself? Do something bigger and better,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So here's the thing. We're having this conversation specifically around cosmetology
Mm-hmm.
and all the branches that flow from that, right? But I think this works. We're using cosmetology in this sense that it's a professional trade in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can plug any other profession or any other industry into cosmetology, right? Like I could take cosmetology out and put in becoming a pilot. Take cosmetology out and put in, becoming a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's the framework is what we're looking at. And for
Yes.
you, this is the first question. It's a few questions I want to ask you. The first question is when your mom suggested beauty school, right?
Yes.
Like over the years, have you thought about it? Have you and your mom talked? Do you think she made that suggestion based on like you being her daughter and she knowing that hey, Kim likes to do hair, she likes this, she likes that? Do you think any of that was put into it, or is more so just like proximity? This beauty school's here, go do something.
I think it was, I like that question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a combination of both things.
Mm-hmm.
One, definitely, yes, she wanted me to get out the house. There was, it's like a strip mall that I could have gone anywhere in that mall
Mm-hmm.
to get a job right out of high school, knowing that I didn't want to go to college. I'm not doing that. I did it later, but I don't want to do that now because at the time, my mental capacity couldn't handle that. My attention span was super short.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew that I moved around a lot. I had to keep moving. I have to be moving at all times. So for me to be able to sit down in one spot and do the same thing repetitively, she knew that wasn't going to work. So with the cosmetology, that gave me the opportunity to do a bunch of things at once. And it worked. So I'm glad that she made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Not decision, but she made that suggestion. And that I've listened and I went ahead and like, okay, well, I want to keep living here, so let me go ahead and do what she told me to do before
Yeah.
she puts me out the house. So.
No, I like that. So essentially, what I'm doing here is I'm walking you through sort of the phases of career development, right? So the
Yes.
first phase is really self-awareness, is you
Mm-hmm.
kind of knowing who you are, which you just alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
You're the type of person who didn't want to just sit down at a desk and do these tasks, and you weren't moving. You need to move, right? So you need to
Yes.
know sort of what your personality is and how it blends and complements, like other possibilities,
Yes.
which is kind of what beauty school provided for you. The second piece of this is you exploring the option. You got in there, you're like, okay, this is good, but then you're starting to explore the options of what else can I do within cosmetology, which I think is really profound. And
Mm-hmm.
what it speaks to is domain expertise, right? Domain
Mm-hmm.
expertise or domain knowledge, which is
Mm-hmm.
essentially learning the industry that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
which most people overlook. And I
Right.
think what you did is you did like a very fundamental thing is that you got in and then you were like, okay, let me learn the industry. What are all the components in cosmetology?
Mm-hmm.
What are all the different possibilities?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't just come into it and say, okay, I'm just going to get my license and I'm just going to just work as, in this job description and then
Mm-hmm.
that's it. You kind of looked at the big picture, right, and you saw all the tentacles that would lead out of this, not just for the different branches but also just the
Yes.
different possibilities, right, including management, including ownership, including building an institute. So walk us through that process of how you understood. I think we hear this a lot when it comes to, I'm using the analogy of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're an artist, somebody will say, hey, you can make music, but don't forget that this is the music business.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in this situation, you understood that this was a business, which is also analogous to this is the industry.
Yes.
So you didn't just come in as a musician and say, hey, I'm just going to make the music and go on tour.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I have to understand the business, right? Like, how
Right.
many points do I get for these songs? what's my publishing? Like you
Mm-hmm.
did all the background.
Right.
So talk to us about how you sort of, as a young person, how all that unfolded for you, where you can see the bigger picture and not just pigeonhole yourself into, I'm just going to get my license and just work as an
Mm-hmm.
employee.
For me, because I like to be in control. I like to be in control. So I realized that ownership, one, was going to be my goal. I have to own it so that I could be the decision maker. Once I did that, and of course, more doors started to open because now I'm in different rooms that I never would have been able to get into. But now I'm in these different rooms. I'm meeting these other people, and I'm seeing my peers. And what I love about the industry is that we all started in the same place. We all started with a cosmetology license. So once I start to meet my peers and I'm networking with them and I'm seeing all the different possibilities, I say, okay, the sky's the limit here. So what are we going to do? One of the things, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, one of the things when I realized it was a trigger for me, when I realized I was onto something, was I had my sons, I have two sons, and we were at the doctor's office. And there was a condition that I knew what the condition was because I learned it in cosmetology school. So when the doctor had came in to see what the problem was, I had already told him what the problem was. But I didn't just, I told him in technical terms, because we're studying physiology, anatomy,
Mm.
chemistry, all of those things. So I was able to talk to him the way he would talk to me. So, so what is your profession? Who do you work with? I said, I'm a cosmetologist. Can I please tell you, this man was annoyed. He could not understand how I was speaking his language.
Fluently.
Yeah. And he looked at me and said, "You're what?" Like, I know you're not. Yes, I am. I'm a cosmetologist. But what college did you go to? I did not. He walked out the room because exactly what I told him was wrong with my son was wrong with my son. All I need you to do is write the prescription. That's the only thing I cannot do. That's what I need you to do for me. You don't need to diagnose and tell me all these things is wrong with him. I already know what's wrong with him. You're the solution. You're the pathway. You're the only way. Help me out. I just made your job a little bit easier. You just confirm what I said, write the prescription, and walk out the door. So that was like a light bulb for me. Because now I'm like, what? I just went toe to toe with this doctor that spent all these years getting this degree to do all these things, and I just challenged him. Oh, it was on then. I was ready then. Oh, you could stop me now. Let's go to the bank. So that was the light. That was it for me.
Yeah.
After that, I always go back to that. Well, if I could sit here and talk to this doctor and we could speak on, level terms, let me go.
Yeah.
Don't stop me. Get out my way. Or
Yeah.
you're gonna get ran over.
Yeah. So I love that, man. I think your story, and sharing your story is inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
and it just reinforces the framework of a lot of this stuff you can do on your own, right? If you're open and you're curious and you sort of follow these steps, and
Mm-hmm.
you can do this whether it's cosmetology, whether it's as a plumber, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's as a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, an engineer. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same framework. It works,
Yeah.
right? So part of this episode is we really want to help parents support their children who potentially have an affinity
Mm-hmm.
for cosmetology,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I want you to talk to parents a little bit, and kind of give them some insight in how they can help to nurture that interest that their child already has,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have a child who's into, fashion, they're into doing hair and nails and makeup and all this stuff, um, but the parent doesn't have a background in that. How would
Mm-hmm.
you sort of help support and guide the parents? Like what would be some inside, tips that you could share with them so that they
Mm-hmm.
can then be empowered to help nurture that gift that their child has that could potentially open up to this world, this business, this industry of cosmetology?
That's a great question. Well, the first thing is to understand that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. That in itself, we're not going anywhere, and we're growing. Every year, the industry gets bigger and better. So that's number one. And embrace their curiosity. If they want to know about it, ask the question, ask why. What is it that you're so excited about this industry? And if so, what part of it? Because it's deeper than doing hair, and I think that when people think about cosmetologists, when they think about us, that's all they see. They see us standing behind a chair doing people's hair. Yes, that is what we do. That's part of what we do. But we also, and I just talked about this recently, we comfort people. People confide in us. We're, someone just gave me a mug and it said therapist, like a therapist, but for hair. And it makes sense because when people walk through that door, sometimes this is the only opportunity they get to decompress. So for the parent, think about that. That's your child has the gift to comfort and to console someone with a cosmetology license that can take them as far as their imagination can in this industry. So that's one. Embrace their curiosity. And then the second one is whatever area it is that you're in, find out how much they're making locally and statewide. See what that dollar looks like because some people think that you can't make a lot of money in this business, but oh, you can. Oh, yes, you can. So find out what the income is going to look like. Sometimes, right out at the beginning, it is a little bit difficult. But if you have the right structure in place with the support from your friends and family, then you can go further faster.
Hmm.
But when people are fighting you and telling you, oh, you don't want to do that, how are you going to tell somebody they don't want to do something that they said they want to do? And then for the parent, think about when you were their age and the things that you wanted to do. And your parents told you no. What was that like? What did that feel like? So, as a parent, we have to, when I say we, because I'm a parent, we have to be open and receptive to what our children are saying because they're telling us the truth. It's just a matter of are we going to listen or not? Because they're going to do what they want to do. So, it's better to go ahead and embrace their passion because when you're passionate about something, you're going to be successful in it. There's not going to be a lot of difficulties because that's what you want. So you're going to try harder. And to know that with the cosmetology license, we have aesthetics, there's blow dry stylists, there's nail technology, there's hairstyling, there's barbering, massage therapy. Oh my gosh, the list is long. Those are just the licenses.
Hmm.
But with each license, that license has branches that can go into other aspects of beauty culture. So when I have conversations with parents, because, I have high school students, I can't believe that my daughter wants to do this. I feel like it's a waste of time and this, that, and the third. Your child is very talented. One of the things we have, because I have a lot of bilingual students, and some students that don't speak English at all, very little. I have a story I love to share. One of my students, she came to me and said, Miss, can I speak Spanish? Of course you can speak Spanish. That's your native tongue. You speak Spanish. She said, no, miss. Can I speak Spanish in your class? I said, well, I don't speak Spanish. So how are we gonna make this work? So I said, no. You want to learn how to speak English? Yes. I said, then speak English. That was the beginning of the school year. Speak English. We're going to work through this together. So the parent's concern is my daughter doesn't speak English. Okay, but she can learn. Once she learns, not only does she know how to speak English now, but she's bilingual. and she can take what she's learned in the cosmetology and work with Spanish and English. Come on now, take it to the bank. So it's changing the mindset for the parent. Change how you think about the cosmetology industry. Do your research. Find out who's doing what, how they're doing it, and how your child can move through and be successful.
Mhm.
So that would be, my advice
Yeah.
to a parent.
Yeah, I like that, and I think for the steps that you put that in, I think that's crucial, right? So it's learning, what's the child interested in,
Mm-hmm.
what are they passionate about, and if it happens to be within the realm of cosmetology, there's tons of opportunities and tons of different pathways that you can
Mm-hmm.
take within cosmetology. And if parents are just open to doing the research and supporting their child,
Mm-hmm.
then the sky's the limit, essentially.
Right.
So talk to us about your evolution, right? And just go into it in a little bit more detail. You started off, you got certified, you got your license, you started working, right? But then you've kind of fast tracked, to like boss mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you enjoy teaching, and so talk to us about how the Revolutionary Institute of Beauty came about, right? And based
Mm.
on but I want you to talk to us from you coming out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
probably not having that vision in mind,
No.
right? But then once you got in the industry, you saw what the possibilities were.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also saw how your gifts, your personality, your interests
Mm-hmm.
align with these different opportunities within the industry of cosmetology.
Mm-hmm.
So just walk us through, some of the lessons you learned, the hard lessons you learned,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
as you have evolved into where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I dare say that I think you're walking in your calling, you're walking in your zone of genius, right? And you're like one of the most grounded, happiest people I know because I think you enjoy what you do,
Thank
right?
you.
You get up every day, and I'm assuming that you feel blessed, you feel grateful
Mm-hmm.
for finding the thing that brings you joy, right? But just walk us through kind of number one, how your curiosity led you, and then but also how you listened and
Yes.
got here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. The journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So after several management positions, after going back to the school and having the teacher's position and being in all these different parts of the business for cosmetology
Mm-hmm.
as an educator, the seniors helping them prepare for their exam for licensure, new students coming in not having any idea on how to turn a curling iron or roll hair or section or hold a comb, to the middle while they're on the floor and learning how to deal with the customers, satisfy the customer, deal with complaints, and learning how to analyze the hair and scalp, and teaching them soft skills, and like, present yourself. Like, you have to come, like, don't play around with this. Take it seriously. Then I started getting, you should open your own school. I kept hearing it. You should open your own school. You should open your own school. I said, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Then I'm there just in the zone. I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm happy here. I have a good job. I'm making good money. I got some customers on the side. I'm taking care of them. So I'm not even thinking about anything else. Until, because remember what I said when somebody told me I can't do something? Woo! I was seeing how people were being treated, how I was being treated after being in one institution for a very long time. And I tell you what, I asked for a raise and I didn't get it. And not only did not get the raise, this person looked me in my face and said, "Oh, Miss Kim, you deserve the raise. You deserve that and more. And I know anywhere you go, you can get that." I was the lowest paid person in the whole institution. I was like, hold on, Mathews, do the math here. What are we really doing? So from that moment, but before then, yeah, from that moment, I decided I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to be an advocate for what's right in the industry. And the only way that I can do that is stop complaining about it. I have to do something about it. I have to be the change. I'm the one who's going to have to step up and challenge this. Oh, you can't do that because, we don't have schools in this demographic. We just don't. So you can't. They told me we don't, so you can't. I said, what? Okay, well, let me do the work. Let me do the research and find out why you all think that we can't have our own institution. So that's where it began. The thought process and the planning of it, that took years. But in between there, the training center, that was first. I, opened that in my sister's basement. And then from there, I ended up having another small establishment out Powder Mill Road. And then from there, COVID happened. COVID shut us down. I was like, okay, now I have a business, but no business. So after that, I had to leave my space because I didn't have any money, because I spent all my money, trying to survive. Then the PPP, that came through, but I didn't qualify because I was solo. I was by myself, so I didn't meet the requirements. I'm like, you are kidding me. I'm getting ready to lose everything. So I gave up my spot. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to lose it all. And in an instant, I got an email, you're approved. Yeah, I said, okay, but I lost my space because I gave it up because I didn't have any money. So now I'm like, okay, God, you gave me this money. What if I don't use it for its intended purpose? I'm gonna have to give it back. So what do we do? What are we gonna do? And I ended up here. So while I was here, and it was COVID, I had all this space, no customers. I had just finished my last program at my other facility, the small one. But now it's COVID. I have no customers. I have all this space. I got to pay rent every 30 days. What in the world am I going to do? So I used the COVID money to keep paying the rent. But while I was here with no customers, I was on this floor praying. And then in that office, creating the program, for which is now approved by Maryland Higher Education Commission, Revolutionary Institute of Beauty. So it was just a matter of keep walking in faith and doing what I said I was going to do. And now, I had someone call and said I didn't have a salon at the time. Oh, I need somewhere to work. I have customers. I need somewhere to work. I didn't have a salon at the time. I said, okay. So I went to the paperwork, set the salon up and got the inspection and had them come through. Now we have a salon. So now I have the training center. Then I have a salon. After the salon, then we have the school open. Like it's just been, it's just been moving. But in order for it to keep growing, I have to keep doing the work. So that's what I encourage anyone to do. If you put it on paper and if you said it out loud, then you got to do the work. That's it. That's all. If you're not going to do the work, then take that piece of paper, tear it up, throw it in the trash, and do something different. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And nobody wants to talk about that. Talk about what you're not going to do. Do it or shut up. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Do it or be quiet.
Yeah. Get excited. All right. So here's the thing. We're getting ready to wrap this up.
Okay.
And I appreciate you being so generous with your time. So I know once people figure out that they do want to get into cosmetology, right? They can reach out to you. They can, if it's offered in their schools, they can kind of start there. If they go and they see someone who works in the industry, they could potentially start doing informational interviews and asking them about what's the process to get involved. But what I want you to do is to help those folks out who are not really sure where to get started, right? Like it's something, they say they live in an area or they go to a school, it's not offered, but the child is actually showing some interest in doing that. But they feel like there's nothing around them, there's no one that they know who's in the industry. Like I want you to give those people some tips, which also will lead to a lot of hope. It'll lead to a lot of clarity and sort of like, here's some first things that you can do. Like, who would you tell them to reach out to? Because we told them to do research,
Mm-hmm.
but let's give them like some specific steps in
Mm-hmm.
how they can do that, especially if it's not offered at the high school
Mm-hmm.
or in your area, and you feel like I'm just alone trying to figure this out.
Right.
Like, what are some practical steps that
Mm-hmm.
that teenager who loves doing hair
Mm-hmm.
or loves nails or fashion or whatever? What are some practical steps that you can give them or tips of
Mm-hmm.
how they can get started?
Right. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So, in all states, the first place would be your Department of Labor. Yeah, DLLR, your Department
Mm-hmm.
of Labor, Labor and Licensing. And with that, it'll show what who needs a license to operate. Then, if you need a license to operate, what the requirements are. So it's either going to be your age or high school diploma, those things, GED. If you don't have the age, then you can seek out a mentor. And you can be mentored by a professional until you reach the age to actually go to school to get your license.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do certification programs. Like a certification program versus licensure is different. So, for instance, in Maryland, we have a braiding class that's for certification. So you're learning the skill set, you're learning business, you're learning safety and sanitation for certification, but you don't need a license to operate and do braiding in the state of Maryland. So depending upon that state would govern what your scope was and what you have to do. So Department of Labor, reach out to area salons, community centers, and some community centers have boot camps, especially during the summer. Teen boot camps, modeling clubs and stuff like that. I was in a modeling club. That was so fun. But there's different clubs and stuff that you can get involved with just to see if that's actually something you want to do. You don't have to sign the dotted line if you're not sure. Find programs, talent shows or something. You can work behind the scenes doing things. And one of the things that I love about this industry, like the list is long on once you get that license, all the stuff you could do. One of my favorites was the cruise ship. You can work on a cruise ship in their salon and spa and do services and travel the world. What? And you have housing, you have food, you don't have to worry about your clothes. They come do your laundry. All you have to do is wake up. When they say wake up, go walk past the Lido deck, go to the salon, clock in, and get to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because my niece works for Disney Cruises. So, you know, it's a real thing. Some people don't even think outside the box. Down 5 minutes from here is MGM Grand. They have a whole spa there. Nail technicians. I'm always getting calls. Do you have anybody? Do you have anybody? Like, people are needed for this industry. But the problem is that most of them aren't licensed. You're out there operating without a license. Cut it out. If you have a passion for it, you're missing an opportunity when you don't have a license. Just like brands, they're looking for people to endorse their products. The first thing they're going to do is go do a license search, see your name. You can look it up. It's public information. Kimberly Mathews, does she have a license? You're going to see that I do. So when the brand deals are coming through because you're amazing on social media, but you're not licensed, then they're going to skip you and go to the next one. So that's another thing that we could share with the parents. If your child is on social media and blowing up on social media and they get a deal for something, but they don't have a license, they miss an opportunity. Right? So I don't know if I answered the question.
No,
I
you
just-
did, you did,
Oh,
you
okay.
did, you did, and I think that's really good insight, right? So that they know getting licenses is an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out like how early can I do that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is there an age requirement, in my city or state? The other thing I want you to do is talk to people about how they can get in contact with you, because I know after this interview airs,
Mm-hmm.
there are going to be folks who have nieces, nephews, children who are potentially going to have their eyes open to possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that they haven't thought about. Like, I love the idea about getting involved in a talent show,
Mm-hmm.
right, and a modeling club, and doing the work behind the scenes. And these are things that people don't think about, right? Or
Right.
even pairing up with someone who's a content creator,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be there, helping the groom folks,
Yeah.
right? So How would people get in touch with you? If they want to reach out to you and they see they love your energy and they're like, hey, I definitely want to like work with this lady.
Oh, I thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are the Revolutionary Institute of Beauty. We're on all the social media channels as Miss Kim's Beauty LLC, Miss Kim's Beauty Exchange, and the Revolutionary Institute of Beauty. Is just a simple search. You could even type my name in, Kimberly Mathews,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll lead to all things.
Yeah.
We have our website is up, and we're just a phone call away. What's the phone number here? I'm going to read it: 301-485-8738. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We're going to pick up, and
Yeah.
we're here. Or you can just walk on in and knock on the door and ask questions.
Okay. I
Yep.
love that. So finally, this is my question. This is a question for me.
Okay.
Um, when I think about cosmetology, right? Is it as simple as what? Is it as simple as everything you do that that involves grooming? Like, how would you break cosmetology down in like
Mm-hmm.
layman's term for somebody like
Mm-hmm.
myself who has no like when I think cosmetology, I just think of like beauty school. I think of it on this high level
Mm-hmm.
that I don't identify with.
Okay.
But how would you break it down for somebody like me, like in the simplest terms? Because I'm sitting here racking my brain. I'm like, is it just everything that has to do with grooming?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you break that down?
So I always say first, all things beauty. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely yes, grooming.
Mm-hmm.
But we have practical, which is our hands-on, so we have to learn how to do the skill set,
Mm-hmm.
and then theory, where we have all these are all of our books where we
Mm-hmm.
learn the technical side of things,
Mm-hmm.
because you have your theoretical and then you have your practical, and we have to be able to put those two components together, so when we do put our hands on people, that we're not going to cause them bodily harm. So we have to learn. There's trigger points. We have to
Mm-hmm.
learn where we can touch and where we cannot touch, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hurt anybody. So, while you're learning the business of beauty,
Mm-hmm.
you're also learning how to protect yourself and to protect your client, protect your business, because it's our responsibility. It's their right to be protected, and it's our right to protect. So, this is a service industry. So we're serving people. So when you think about, and that's such a good question. When you think about cosmetology, you're you're a servant. You're
Okay.
serving people. So you have to be friendly. You have to be able to communicate. You have to look people in their eye and talk to them. So if you're always on your phone and you don't want to talk to people and you're saying, I don't like people, this is the wrong business for you. Go do something else, because nobody has time for it.
Yeah.
And the customer service piece, like we talked about earlier, there's retail. I mean, there's so much product. We have one of our young ladies, Kendra, K. Michelle. She has her own product line. One of my former students. She is doing the thing. And when I think about some of my other peers, Mr. Bennett in DC has one of the biggest schools in Washington, DC, started with cosmetology license. Okay, he's got stories in DC. And, when you think about the industry and where it could take you, you could do this, you could do it small and have your own little suite and run your business and be huge in your small space. But it depends on what you want to do with it. But you have to start with the formal education. This
Yeah.
is formal education. We have license to operate. We're not just out here doing hair, and it is fun. We're having fun. One of the things I wanted to share too is we're getting ready to go on tour. Mm. And hopefully next month we'll be in Ocean City doing our continuing education and hands-on training in Ocean City.
Nice.
So that's one of the other things. I'm going to check that off the box. I want to do a tour, right? So anything that I can do, you can do better. Get excited.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think what I love from what you just said is you're showing like how this thing can expand and go in a lot of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you touched on the product, right? About K Michelle, about what Kendra's doing. That's really really amazing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that people know that okay, you can come in, you can start off, but there are all these possibilities of ways that you can grow, and I think that's important for parents to understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not just doing this. You're not pigeonholed into one thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
really you're limited by your curiosity and your
Mm-hmm.
imagination, specifically in this industry,
Right.
right? So I really appreciate you saying that. Um, Anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to share? Because I want to like give you some flowers before we wrap this up.
I thank you so much.
Hmm.
One of the other big industry,
Mm-hmm.
huge, is weddings,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So I have a former graduate. She came through our state board refresher. So we offer state board refresher
Mm-hmm.
for students that have gone to school, they finished their hours. This is so important because a lot of times people think that because they completed their hours, but they never went to go get their license, that they have to go back to school. You don't have to go back to school. Your license or your hours are your hours.
Mm-hmm.
So if I completed 1,500 hours 20 years ago, I don't have to go back to school. Those hours are mine. I paid for them. And now I just need to find out what is the current test, because the test does keep changing and
Mm-hmm.
updating. So, what is the current test? Who do I need to call to find out that information? I can get into a refresher, do however many hours it takes me to learn the new test, practical and theory, and then go get my license and get to work.
Yeah.
So, Tashina Williams came from Chicago. She did not have a Maryland license, but now she lives in Maryland. She couldn't get her reciprocity, so she had to go and retake the test all over again. She came here, did the refresher, did her practical, did her theory, passed her test. She's running a bridal business only. That's all she does. She is killing them. Makeup and hair, weddings only. That's it. So when you think about the capacity in which you want to do this business,
Mm-hmm.
what do you like to do?
Yeah.
She likes to do bridal makeup. She likes to do bridal hair.
Yeah.
So that's all she does.
Yeah.
Some people only want to deal with kids.
Yeah.
Good for them. Thank God for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's I don't have the patience for it. But again, how do you want to run your business?
Yeah.
So that would be, for me, the biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
You know, you get your license, then what you going to do? You find out what you want to do, make a plan. Get a mentor, get with someone who's doing what you're doing so you don't have to figure it out. Okay? You can fast track it if you connect with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I wish somebody would tell me that.
You figured it out, though.
I did figure it
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
but you know, it would have been more helpful if somebody said, "Oh, you're going to need a mentor."
Yeah.
But yeah, now I know.
It'll save you some time. So let me say this to you as we wrap up, right? I got to give you your flowers. I think one of the things that I personally enjoy about a lot of the people that I know is when a lot of folks that I run into, they're living in their element, right? They're operating in their zone of genius. They're doing the thing that they're truly aligned with, and I think you're one of those people, right? So and so that gives me um, great joy to know that someone is in a space who I can close my eyes and not worry about because I know that person's going to do right, right? So I feel like
Yeah.
you're one of those people who I'm very happy that you're in the space that you're in and that you're in the position that you're in to kind of bring along the next generation, to serve people with a level of integrity that is out of this world, right? And you're doing it from from it like it makes you happy, right? To serve and to help people. So I really love that, man. Anytime I see someone who's in a position, in of authority, and they're handling that power well, and they're not abusing it. So thank you first of all for being one of those people. The last thing I want to talk to you, and we're gonna wrap it up, is this. And you mentioned find the who, right? Find the person who can mentor you. Find the person who has the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that person can teach you the how. This is how I did it. This is how you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I want you to talk about the why,
Mm-hmm.
right? The why, like if the why is big enough,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a saying that says like if the why is big enough, then anything that you encounter,
Mm-hmm.
you can overcome, right?
Yeah.
As long as your why, your reason for doing this, like if your reason for doing this, if your why
Mm-hmm.
is big enough,
Mm-hmm.
then no matter what you encounter, you'll overcome it.
Right.
What is your why, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how big is your why for what you do?
Mm. My why is my kids. Yeah, of course they don't want anything to do with the beauty industry, but they're encouraged by my ethics. They're encouraged by the work. You know, they know without a shadow of a doubt there's not going to be an excuse. You know, so my why is I need to not talk about it, but I need to be about it. They need to see me do the work so that when it's their turn, they don't sit around and make excuses because we don't have time for excuses. Laying in bed all day, sleeping, doing what? What are we doing? You know, my why is that I want to live a fulfilled life. I want to meet as many people as I can. I want to have as many experiences that I can. I want to tap into everything that the world has to offer. That's why. That's my why.
That's
I
your why.
want more. That's why. That's why I do it because I want more. It's not enough. And they say, oh, well, you're doing so much already. For whom? For me or for you? Because what I'm doing is for me and this my capacity for those things. And if the door is open, I'm gonna walk through it while it's still open, right? So that would be my why. And then, you know, I think about Stasha. I admire her. She has her own product line in New York. She's global, right? She's doing braids and natural hair and all of these things. She has a school in New York. I think about Dr. Betty Franks, and she's in North Carolina. Like, these are people that I'm meeting often. So why not, right?
There it is. Get excited.
Get excited.
So thank you so much, Kim, and thank you for hosting us at the Revolutionary Institute of Beauty.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for all your insight. Thanks for your enthusiasm and your energy, and I really, really appreciate you. Again, you're one of my favorite people on this whole planet.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for joining us on this special episode of the Immigrant Education Collaborative Podcast. Hopefully this was helpful. This can hopefully help someone who has an interest in cosmetology, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for checking out this latest episode of the Immigrant Education Collaborative Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please shoot us a comment. Let us know what your favorite part is. Shoot us some suggestions, what you'd like to see going forward. And thanks again for your support. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for your engagement. We appreciate it.